Your Excellencies, dear friends, on behalf of SEV, Enterprise Greece, the Athens Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and the Greek Exporters Association, I would like to welcome you to this event. During this fuzzy global economic period, it remains important to expand trade and business relations with all of our partners around the globe. The initiative today aims to promote further trade and business relations with Jordan. We have already organized 2 business missions to Amman, one in 2016 and one in 2019. Both business trips demonstrated the strong interest of our members to promote trade relations. Ladies and gentlemen, economic and political relations between the 2 countries are excellent indeed. We are united by historical ties and have helped each other in difficult times. And in truth, we do admire the accomplishments of the Jordanian governments. Jordan has developed excellent regional and international connections which facilitate trade flows efficiently. The open trade regime and the numerous free trade agreements make the country an attractive location for businesses engaged in international trade. Ongoing investment in renewable energy will reduce reliance on energy imports and lower costs over the long term. And last but not least, the growth rate is well above the region standards, favored by a significant production of phosphate and potash and by the well-developed tourism sector. But looking at the trade figures, it is true that trade volume between Greece and Jordan is very low, remains very low, with the overall trade moving at almost 70 million euros, showing a 20 points increase compared to 2020. Greek imports from Jordan amounted to only 30 million euros, showing a 50% increase since 2020. On the other hand, Greek exports to Jordan amounted to almost 40 million euros, with a marginal increase compared to 2020. The main exports to Jordan are fruits and nuts, pharmaceuticals, minerals, equipment, electronic equipment, cosmetics, and plastics. This is definitely not reflecting the actual potential and the strong relations between the 2 countries. There is room to increase trade relations and for Greek businesses to export more to Jordan, especially in sectors like F&B, constructions, building materials, farm and energy. Ladies and gentlemen, I look forward to seeing a beneficial economic partnership to expand in the coming period. I'm confident that this event will further promote economic relations to the benefit of both countries. Let me thank you all for attending, and of course, let me thank Eurobank for supporting all international trade activities at SEV. Before we start, let me give the floor to Mr. Dimitris Dimitriou, member of the Executive Board of the Athens Chamber of Commerce and Industry, for his introductory remarks. Dimitris, the floor is yours.
Thank you, George. Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, as a member of the Executive Board of the Athens Chamber of Commerce and Industry, I would like to welcome you to today's online conference and extend a warm thank you for participating. This online event, which we are organizing together with Enterprise Greece 7, aims at highlighting new opportunities for business cooperation between Greece and Jordan. It takes place after our successful business delegation to Amman in November 2019. Mr. Xirogiannis mentioned even the previous one, which was on 2016. And before the reciprocal Jordan delegation to Athens that we are expecting, which is going to be probably held at the beginning of July 22, hopefully. Ladies and gentlemen, It is true that Russia's invasion of Ukraine, apart from the huge humanitarian crisis, has created geopolitical turmoil with serious consequences for energy supply and inflation rates. However, Greece is continuing on this very successful growth and prosperity. Greek business are expanding overseas and are creating added values with new products, services, and innovation, while the country has become one of Europe's top investment destinations. On the other hand, Jordan is the most globalized country in the region, and its banking sector is highly developed. At the same time, in terms of economic competitiveness, Jordan is indicated ranked high in the world, and fairly it is considered as a competitive economy. Jordan has also a variety of industrial zones in the fields of textile, military industry, technology, pharmaceutical, and cosmetics, while in recent years it has emerged prominently in the field of knowledge and education. The excellent level of bilateral political relations between Greece and Jordan is reflected in the close cooperation in the two countries within the framework of international organization. It's a fact that a large number of Jordanians, over 2,500, are graduated of Greek universities, and that contributes significantly to the very positive image that Jordanian has for Greece. However, looking, as already said, at the trade figures, we can see that the trade volume is very low. The numbers has been already said by George, I don't want to repeat. And the main export to Jordan from Greece are medicine, fresh fruit, butane, aluminum foil, and we mainly import copper, waste tobacco, potassium from Jordan. But the levels are very low. We are approximately at 70 million, which for two friendly countries has to be definitely much bigger, much higher. So we really hope that today's event will help both entrepreneurs from both countries to increase their relations. So, ladies and gentlemen, I assure you that our chamber, Athens Chamber of Commerce, as the biggest chamber in Greece with more than 10,000 members, will continue to support the effort of developing our bilateral economic relation and work in close cooperation with you in order to improve and develop our bilateral trade and economy. Thank you very much for your attention. I look forward to follow the rest of the panels and see how we can improve better our relation. Thank you, George.
Thank you, Mr. Dimitriou. Now let me pass the floor to Mr. Panagiotis Chasapis, Executive Vice President at SEVE. Panagiotis, the floor is yours.
Thank you, George. Honorary guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you all for attending today's digital informative seminar in which we will explore Jordan's prospects. A major part of SEVE's activities is to identify and explore new markets and then assist exporting companies in starting or expanding their business there. As such, today we are delighted to organize this event with Enterprise Greece SEV and the Athens Chamber of Commerce and Industry, because we believe that Greek enterprises should enhance their business activity with the Southwest Asian countries. Jordan is one of them and is located at the crossroads of the continents of Asia, Africa, and Europe, which is a strategic point for world trade. Forecasts are claiming that a 2.1% growth in 2022 for Jordan's economy, followed by 2.3% in 2023 and 2024 as well. So trade finance combined account for nearly 1/3 of Jordan's gross GDP. Transportation and communication, public utilities and construction represent 1/5 of total Jordan's GDP, and mining and manufacturing constitute nearly that proportion as well. Despite the fact that Jordan's economy is relatively small, world imports amounted to 15 billion euro in 2020 from 17 billion euro the previous year, with main products providers being China, with a share of approximately 16%, Saudi Arabia, 12% share, the United States, 8.3% share, and Germany, 4% share, and the United Arab Emirates as well, with the same share as well. Needless to mention that the world's largest economies, such as China, the US, and Germany, already have a strong presence in the country because of its geostrategic importance and business environment. As such, we must act accordingly and boost cooperation. And on the contrary, as said before, Greek exports to Jordan amounted to just 40 billion euros, with the main products exported being chemicals, food, machinery and transport equipment, and manufactured goods. In addition to that, based on economic analysis from the Economist Intelligence Unit, the government of Jordan will continue to pursue policies to attract foreign investment. So, the current situation in global trade and global economy illustrates the need for a broad portfolio of cooperation, and Greece needs to expand extroversion through new synergies and new trade allies. I truly believe that webinars such as today's can set the basis for a new era, and this is why SEBE is participating, co-hosting, organizing events regarding the enhancement of the strengthening of cooperation between Greek companies and strategic allies from countries with high prospects such as Jordan's. The prospects are huge, and this is why we're here, trying to find cooperation patterns, identifying promising markets, and explore new opportunities. As soon as the war in Ukraine and the pandemic ends, international business will be different and new opportunities will arise. Exploiting these opportunities, promoting bilateral agreements, and initiating business forums based on a strategic plan will be the key to a new era for the Greek economy. And this must be our ultimate target, and we'll hope that this webinar will be fruitful for everyone. I would like to thank you all for your attention. George.
Many thanks, Panagiotis, for the introduction. Last but not least, I give the floor to Mr. George Filiopoulos, CEO at Enterprise Greece. George, the floor is yours.
Thank you, George. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a pleasure to be with you today to discover how we can further develop the commercial relationship between Greece and Jordan. On behalf of Enterprise Greece, I would like to extend a warm welcome to all our participants today and give my special thanks to all our fellow co-organizers of today's event. Greece and Jordan have long enjoyed a warm bilateral relationship, and both our countries are pillars of stability in the Eastern Mediterranean. As recently as last summer, Athens hosted His Majesty, King Abdullah, and the Trilateral Summit of Jordan, Greece, and Cyprus. Our two countries share a mutual commitment to peace, security, and open trade in the region. Today's event focuses on how to enhance our bilateral trading relationship to match our already close diplomatic relationship, particularly as the world economy embarks on a post-COVID recovery. In Greece, the recovery is already underway. Our economy is expected to grow at a robust 3 to 4% rate this year, following a better than expected 8.5 rebound in 2021, which represents, by the way, one of the fastest growth rates in Europe. Economic sentiment is at its highest point since 2000, and unemployment is at its lowest levels in 10 years. Over the last decade, Greece has restructured its economy, rationalized its public finances, and boosted its competitiveness. At the same time, Greece is fast becoming a new regional hub for energy, logistics, and innovation. Jordan is now also undertaking difficult reforms that will position it for robust growth in the future. And recently, its efforts have been recognized by international ratings agencies. And despite the global pandemic, Jordan's economy has weathered the crisis better than many of its peers. At Enterprise Greece, our mission is to showcase Greece as an investment destination and to promote the country's highly competitive products and services in the global market. We are always ready to assist our exporters, to assist foreign investors, and anyone interested in doing business in Greece, and we invite you to contact us. Thank you so much. You're on mute, George.
Sorry for that. Thank you, George. Thank you, Dimitris and Panagiotis, for the introduction. All guests, all participants are invited to post their questions at the YouTube chat, and the moderators will share the questions with the speakers depending on time and relevance. I will now pass the floor to Ms. Vicky Makriani, Senior Advisor at SEV, to coordinate the first panel, which will focus on bilateral relations between Greece and Jordan. Vicky, the floor is yours.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first panel of today's event, which will deal, as Mr. George said before, with the bilateral relations between Greece and Jordan. Let me welcome our ambassador to Jordan, Ms. Eleftheria Galakianaki, and the ambassador of Jordan in Greece, Mr. Ahed Ali Sweidat. Thank you both, Your Excellencies, for being with us today. I will go straight to the questions. I would like to ask you the following. Having in mind the economic relations between Jordan and Greece in the fields of international trade and investments, do you believe that they represent the potential of the two countries, or there is space for improvement, and if so, in what ways? Ms. Galakianaki, I give the floor first to you.
Thank you very much for this organization, for this event. It is very helpful for all of us. I would like to start my answer to your question. I have to say that we have excellent political relations, and these relations increase and are enhanced also through the trilateral cooperation with Cyprus, Greece, or better, Jordan, Greece, Cyprus. But on the other hand, we have the economic and commercial relations. And for this, I would like to say the following. Even though bilateral commerce is progressively growing throughout these last years, we are fully aware that there is significant room for further improvement. We believe that, among other things, that the creation, with the active support of our embassy, of the Jordanian Greek Business Association in December 2020 will certainly contribute to this goal. Jordanian exports to Greece have augmented at a much higher pace than Greek exports to Jordan since 2018, thus contributing to Jordan's goal of diminishing its commercial deficit. But we don't speak about very big numbers. Overall, as the gentleman who spoke first, Mr. Xiroyannis, I think, mentioned. There are also some Greek companies that have invested in Jordan. I would like to mention them. The factory of Paliria food industry near Amman, the development of a wind park near Wadi Rum, the waste management project in the outskirts of Amman, just to mention a few of them. Of course, although Jordan has introduced many reforms and innovation concerning the economic sphere and tries to attract investments, I have to say that from my experience in this country, there are a lot of things to be done. It's not over. I mean, a lot of work needs to be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Ambassadors, with that, what's your opinion on this question?
In the beginning, allow me please to extend my sincere thanks for Athens Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Greek Exporters and Enterprise Greece and others for organizing this event, and looking forward to have more meetings of this type, which I am sure will be beneficial for boosting our bilateral economic relations. In fact, thank you for, I would like to thank also the speakers who have talked about the relations, about the Jordanian economy, and who talked, talked about many points which I was preparing to talk about, the numbers, about the attractiveness of the Jordanian economy, and how we are working hard in Jordan to attract more investments. And in fact, the economic relations is not a one-way process. Rather, it's a joint will and a joint responsibility as well. And as a representative of the government of Jordan and my country, my advice for the business community in Greece and in Jordan to get the benefit from the political environment that prevail between the two countries, and to start seriously looking forward for good business opportunities in Jordan and in Greece. We want to increase, and we are very ambitious to improve our economic relations, to be in the level of the political one. We admit that there is a responsibility from our side as a government, from both sides. And that's why, we are now eager to hold the joint committee meetings, which will be held within 2 months from now, as was mentioned. And in the same time, there will be a business forum, which I think will be a good business opportunity also for the business communities from both sides to explore the opportunities and to see where we can work, and we are ready in this regard to help them. As we, all of us agree, and all of us, we can see we are still talking about a very, very low numbers, very modest numbers between countries. We are very close, for the business communities. What, my advice is, it's less than 2 hours flight. For the ports, it's very close to each other. Why we go, to a very far places, very far distances, and to make business, and while we are, very close to each other, and we are having a lot of, opportunities from my point of view, from what I have seen here. In the same time, also, the challenges that we had in both countries, in Jordan and in Greece and the whole world, faced during the last 2 years because of the pandemic, and now because of the Ukraine war, it imposes, on us a responsibility and to explore more opportunities and to go forward to improve our trade relations.
Thank you, Ambassador. As I understand it from both of you, a lot has been done, but there is a lot of room for improvement. And you are right, Ambassador, we forgot to mention that there will be a business forum at the beginning of July in Athens.
Yes.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
So from your experience, what is the consumer's perception for the Greek products? Do they have a positive impression? And if we ask you to name one Greek product, what, Ms. Garakianaki, would be from your experience in Jordan?
You know, of course, there is a lot of Greek products, not only one that, you know, have positive perception, not only in Jordan, but also in many countries in the world. You know, I remember when I was in Cairo, I was posted in Cairo before coming to Athens, you know. Why, you know, if I go to the supermarket and, you know, usually they will tell me, you know, today we received Kalamata olives. And that's, you know, was my favorite and for the rest of my, you know, family members. So we came to know Kalamata olives and the Greek cheese, you know, before coming to Athens. And, you know, we were addicted to that. And that's why, you know, it was easy for me to, when I came here, you know, to find them. So you have a lot of things, you know, that famous, you know, really in Jordan and elsewhere.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Ambassador Garakianaki.
Yes, thank you. We feel that while the Greek products here, especially agro-food products, are appreciated, they could, under certain circumstances, and these circumstances concern the Greek side, of course, to acquire even a more positive impression on Jordanian consumers. Some of the well-known products here are feta cheese, Greek yogurt, and the fruits. We export rice and fruits, but the fruits, we see them in the supermarkets as European fruits, like, for example, the apples. You don't see Greek apples, but you see European apples, while other countries like Italy have Italian apples on them, it's written. So I think that we should work more from the Greek side to establish our products here in Jordan. But yes, the Jordanian society knows very well and appreciates our food products.
Thank you very much. Speaking with Greek exporters, and we'll have the chance to have their testimonials at the last panel of today's event. What we get is that there is a lot of competition in many international markets, in most of the international markets. What about Jordan? In your opinion, Ambassador Swaidat, what is the most decisive factor for the Jordanian importers and consumers when choosing their products?
See, you know, the competition is something very healthy. You know, now we are living in a globalization era. So competition should encourage the producer always to improve their products and to export the best of what they can produce. And this is also in the end, you know, it will be in the interest of the end user and the consumer, who can get the best of everything because of this competition. In Jordan, like Greece, I think the importance as well as the consumers' decisive and main factors for choosing any product is the quality, first of all, and then I think the price. And this is here, you know, comes the role of the producers to get the best benefits without, you know, affecting or playing with the quality of the product. And I think this is the main thing, you know, not more than.
Thank you, Ambassador. Ambassador Garakianaki?
Yes, thank you. The Jordanian market is a very competitive market. And if we focus on agri-food products, apart from the Jordanian ones that are of high quality, Jordan imports many goods from US and other United States and other extremely competitive markets. Nevertheless, many of our products seem to have found their place in the Jordanian market, namely cosmetics like 17, food products, Dodoni, Epirus, Greek fruits, as I mentioned before, personal care, Septona, Mega, to mention just a few of them. A very decisive factor, of course, not only for Jordan, but worldwide, is the ratio quality-price, between quality and price. The Greek products face a fierce competition from markets such as I mentioned before, the American one, where no custom duties are applied, but also from big regional players like the United Kingdom and Turkey. We have the impression that as a member of, as a European country, and Europe is a natural ally and finds itself so close to Jordan, European products could have even better chances, including the Greek products, in the competitive Jordanian market. But anyway, even if it is difficult, as I mentioned, our products have found their place and their way here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Ambassador Swedat, what is the support you provide as an embassy here in Greece to the potential Greek exporters in order to get in touch with the local buyers?
This is a very good question. And I think this is, we are here to encourage and to extend the necessary support that business community requests from both sides, from either in Jordan or in Greece. We have in Jordan a very good and attractive investment environment, as I mentioned before, which facilitated by the government. And we are ready to explain this to our friends here, the business community in Greece, to explain, how about the good enterprises, good, business environment in Jordan, how it's attractive and fruitful for investment, for their investment in Jordan. And in the same time also, we are making, if any exporter from both sides, also want to make, want to get any information about the market, whether in Athens or in Amman, we are ready to explain to them also how to facilitate their exports. Any information, we are welcoming, the business communities from both sides.
Thank you, Ambassador Swedat. Ambassador Alakianaki, how is our Greek embassy helping Greek exporters?
Well, you have witnessed that yourself when you came here with the business delegation. But I'm answering to your question more concretely. Despite the fact that our embassy does not have an economic and commercial office, we have asked for it, but we don't have it still. We have managed not to have a single commercial request unanswered. We try to help all the businessmen from both sides to come into contact. And of course, not only as an embassy, but also with the valuable support of the Jordanian Chambers of Commerce, namely Amman Chamber of Commerce and Jordan Europe Business Association. We try to help potential Greek exporters by providing them with up-to-date lists of Jordanian importers, to bring them closer with local buyers, and we have already done so for Greek rice producers and honey producers, among others. We also intervene to Jordanian authorities wherever they face any kind of issue, the Jordanian businessmen or the Greek businessmen. A few months ago, the Greek company Paliria that produces foodstuff had a problem that we solved with the help of the Jordanian authorities, and the production of this Greek investment continues normally up to date, unfortunately. So we are trying to help. I also want to add that we are looking forward to the realization of the joint ministerial committee in the beginning of July, and also to the realization of the forum, of the economic forum that is going to be organized in the margins of the ministerial committee. We are very hopeful about this because we believe that both sides dispose the will to make synergies. So,
thank you very much. And
thank you.
You're right. And from my experience in both delegations, both embassies were very, very helpful. And although you lacked an economic attaché, the embassies worked perfectly and helped us a lot. It was both delegations were very, very successful, and we hope the same for the delegation from Jordan in July. Thank you both for your
thank you.
Thank you. I think once we will improve the numbers. It's now I think it's the role of the private sector. Once we will improve the numbers, I think in both embassies, we can have the business attaché or the business, special diplomat who can take care of this file. And thank you very much. Thank you, my colleague from Amman. And I think, regarding the problem that you have mentioned, His Excellency Mr. Shamari was, interfered to improve to solve the problem. And I think it was almost solved.
Indeed, yeah. The Minister, His Excellency Mr. Shamali, was very helpful, very polite, and very knowledgeable and experienced of the market and all these regulations that exist. And we are very grateful. And I'm very happy to see you, dear colleague.
Thank you very much. And looking forward also to work together to make the event, the coming event, which is the Joint Committee and the Business Forum, a good success, for the relation, and we should prepare. I think, now I am calling our friends in the Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We should work together. I'm ready to come and meet each of you and to see, to explore the opportunities. How can we improve our trade relations?
Indeed, our will and disposition the disposal is there to help and contribute to the success of this meeting.
Thank you indeed. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank you both for your input and give the floor. This will end the first session, and give the floor to Mr. Christos Kouras, Director of International Institutional Affairs at Enterprise Greece, to coordinate the second panel. Thank you all for your attention. Thank you, ambassadors.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vicky, for the introduction. Before I move on to my distinguished panelists, I would like to make a very short comment following what Mr. Dimitriou from the Athens Chamber of Commerce mentioned at the beginning. Greek society's very positive view of Jordan is significantly influenced by the fact that many Jordanians are graduates of Greek universities. So this is very important, as many of us had the privilege to meet some of them and formulate a very positive image of Jordan and its people. So now I would like to briefly introduce my distinguished panelists. First of all, we have Ms. Vasiliki Simis, is the Secretary for Economic and Commercial Affairs in Directorate B5 of Bilateral Economic Relations in the Hellenic Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Ashraf Hassanaweh, Deputy Head of Mission in the Embassy of the Hashemite Kingdom of Jordan in Greece, and Ms. Eleni Albadi, Export Gate Services Global Transaction Banking from Eurobank, who will be making a presentation at the end of the panel. So first of all, I will move on with questions that will be addressed to Ms. Simi and Mr. Hassanaweh, who will be taking turns in responding. And I would like to welcome you to be as brief as possible so as to respect the time constraints. So, could you briefly give us an overview of the main sectors that drive both the bilateral trade and FDI? Have you identified any niche sectors that the two countries should focus on? Ms. Simi, the floor is yours.
First of all, I would like to thank you all for having me here. This is a great opportunity for us to further improve and work on our already great bilateral relations of Greece and Jordan. With regard to our bilateral trade, our ambassador, Mrs. Galafranaki, has already offered useful insight to our audience. From my perspective, I would like to make things a bit more specific. In 2021, according to the Hellenic Statistical Authority, the top categories of Greek products exported to Jordan were pharmaceuticals, fruit, machinery, and aluminum products. On the other hand, the respective top categories of Jordanian products imported to Greece were copper, tobacco, lead products, chemicals, and fertilizers. So that makes the main sectors driving our bilateral trade more or less clear. It's healthcare, food industry, infrastructure, and agriculture. This having been said, I would like to stress that our trade volume, which was around 70 million euro in 2021, again according to the Hellenic Statistical Authority, shows significant potential, as has already been mentioned. Greece and Jordan could mutually benefit from this potential by extending the range of products and services that are currently traded. In addition to trade, of course, there is also ample room for Greece and Jordan to explore cooperation opportunities in the field of investment. In this direction, our two countries could capitalize on their great bilateral political relations and collaborate to forge new synergies in a wide variety of economic sectors. I will only indicatively mention some: defense and security, information and communications technology, renewable energy resources, water and waste management, construction and infrastructure, healthcare, tourism, education, that was mentioned by you before, agriculture, and food industry. This is all from me on this question.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hassanaweh?
Yes, thanks a lot. I believe, like, in addition to what has been mentioned before, I believe that there are some sectors that we can focus on, which is already, like in bilateral trade, for instance, which both Greece and Jordan are having a plus advantage in this regard. I believe that industry or the medical industry in this regard is one of the major issues that could be focused on. Both Jordanian and the Greek economy are sort of very much similar to each other in this regard. So, like, we cannot really have like a variety of exchange in trade between the two countries, but we also can avoid, a kind of bilateral trade more to cooperative business in this regard. And I'm pointing out very much into one direction, which is the tourism kind of cooperation, for instance, since we can form a kind of a corridor of business industry in this regard, which could help much more. Also, if we are talking only about bilateral trade, since both the economies are similar, sort of, and also as a markets, they are very small. I don't think that it's just only that we have to focus only what kind of bilateral trade we have. I believe that we should much more talk about, expanding throughout these two small markets to the regions. In Jordan, we can talk about exports either directly, like to new markets like in Iraq or even in Syria, or Syria could be direct, but also like to the Gulf region and far much more. And for Greece, the Greek market can be a gateway for the Jordanian trade far further into Europe and even into the Balkan region.
Thank you very much indeed. It's a gateway.
Thanks.
Let's move on to a second question I have for you, Ms. Simi. How do the two embassies support the bilateral relations of the two countries? And what are the services that you provide to companies to network with potential business partners and buyers?
Well, our ambassador, Ms. Galafanati, has already offered our audience some useful insight on the ways our embassy in Amman actively supports and promotes the bilateral relations of our two countries. On my part, just allow me to stress something that she has also already mentioned, that there is no economic and commercial affairs office in Amman yet, but our embassy has managed to be very active and very supportive in promoting trade and investment between Greece and Jordan in all the ways that our ambassador has already described and informed all of us about.
Thank you very much. Indeed, it's very efficient. I have to admit, because I've also been to a mission there together with the other colleagues, and I saw that with my own eyes. Mr. Hassaune?
Well, not too much to add in regard to what has been said before, but from our side, let me talk about our experience in this regard. Normally we are trying to promote, for instance, what kind of opportunities could be available for investors or for even traders in Jordan throughout communicating this information directly to the Greek chambers, either directly throughout, to direct all of this information to the chambers, giving the chance and the opportunities to the people who are interested to participate. And on the other side, actually, we are trying always, in case we are receiving any information about any kind of forums, economic forums, or even exhibitions, to provide it to the Jordanian chamber so that to have an opportunity to participate in this regard, which I believe at the minimum effort we are doing in this regard. Myself also, as being based here at the embassy, I had the honor, to be part of the board of the commercial counselors, with which Enterprise Greece is part of it. Trying to figure out some of the activities in this regard. Luckily, I may say in this regard that Jordan and Greece, being both people and states, also officially and non-officially, are very much familiar with each other, very much close. So they are, that makes, the business too easy and direct channel. We have been receiving so many inquiries from people either here in Greece or from Jordanians whom are interested, for instance, for importing or exporting. So we are always directing these things to Jordanian side and getting, the feedback and provide it to the people whom are inquiring about it.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the reference to the ACDC club. A third question would be, entering a foreign market poses great challenges and risks for companies. Could you please, Ms. Simi, briefly explain the main factors that Greek companies should consider to successfully enter the market and do business in Jordan?
Well, first of all, I would like to point out the fact that Jordan is a country that has managed to offer a stable and friendly environment for business interests in the Middle East, which is, as we all know, an otherwise considerably challenging area. Jordan is also strategically positioned to serve as a platform for businesses supplying regional markets. I think that this has also been mentioned before, or for businesses seeking access to reconstruction efforts in Iraq. Having said that, the main factors reported by businesses over time and the factors that Greek companies should consider before attempting to enter the market and do business in Jordan are more or less the following. The relevant scarcity of natural resources and water supplies, matters on which the Jordanian government is working on, though, to address them to the extent that this is possible, of course. The electricity tariffs for certain industrial sectors, and of course, certain bureaucracy issues that have been reported, such as the lengthy business registration procedures and the difficulties observed in, for example, dissolving failed business endeavors in Jordan.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hassaune?
Well, I mean, to be frank with you, if I have to talk here about the points that could be mentioned in this regard, I mean, I believe that the Greek, let's say, market, and it's very much promising in regard of being, first of all, as I mentioned before, a gateway towards the Balkans. Also, I mean, like being a member of the EU, which is, I mean, also a plus advantage that helps. And as even since I arrived in Greece, and I have been noticing, I mean, like that Greek economy is doing far much better than during the crisis, and it's has been already recovering out of it. And this encourages, I mean, like throughout also the reforms that the government has been doing for attracting, I mean, investors, as well as, I mean, like direct trade between the two countries. I believe like this is a plus advantage in this regard. I have to talk about, you know, like cultural issues in this regard, which is, I mean, which is, I mean, very much important in creating a kind of, if I may say, I mean, like common understanding or language between business people.
Thank you very much. I would like to stress out that your strategic location of Jordan, it's very crucial. It's key for the Greek market.
That's correct. And if I may add just one point, if here, I mean, like, I mean, nowadays, I mean, we are talking about, and we are hoping, I mean, that the parts of the region will be getting better and stabilized, which has been also mentioned and discussed between some of the officials of the two countries, which is, I mean, like to have both Jordan and Greece, I mean, like cooperate in regard of the reconstruction of countries like in Iraq and Syria, of bilateral, creating a kind of an economic, if I may call it, block between these countries, including even Cyprus. This is something, I mean, very much promising, and it has been talked about and discussed, and hopefully we will see something coming out of it very soon.
Thank you, indeed. The fourth question to Ms. Simi. Can you share with us 3-4 sectors in Jordan that can work purely as importers or foreign exporters companies?
Although I believe Mr. Hassaune would be best suited to answer this question in more detail, I shall, on my part, indicatively mention some sectors. Those are the sectors of pharmaceuticals and medical equipment, where our bilateral trade is already strong, security infrastructure, and food industry, where there's actually increasing demand, as Ambassador Galatanaki already mentioned, for products that Greece can, does, and could further provide in high quality and adequate quantity, such as, to name a few, beef and poultry, cheese, and fresh and frozen sea products.
Thank you. Mr. Hassaune?
I do agree with my colleague, and if I have add here in this regard, we can focus more onto the phosphate part of it. Which can be used in the fertilizers, and this is one major point in this regard. And I can talk about not only exporting and importing, but also as investors actually in this regard, which is the services and the banking system, and the IT industry. Jordan is doing very much great in this regard, and we have very high qualified manpower in regard of IT technology, banking sector, which could be a kind of support in this regard.
Thank you very much. Now to my last question. Based on your experience, Ms. Simi, can you give us 5 tips to help prepare a business enter the Jordanian market?
Well, first of all, although they are not obliged to do so, as Jordan is quite a liberal market, it is recommended that new-to-market Greek businesses seriously consider partnering with a local representative, agent, or distributor for the purposes of better monitoring business opportunities, navigating through import and standards testing regulations, identifying public sector procurement opportunities, establishing industry contacts, offering after-sales service, and of course, maintaining continued and unhindered presence in the Jordanian market. That was tip number 1. Tip number 2, Greek businesses considering Jordan should focus on really understanding and comprehending the market characteristics of the country, as well as the potential for leveraging Jordan as a regional hub for certain products or services. Sales service and customer support, also vital. In this respect, it is critical that Greek businesses commit to their local agent or distributor, in case, of course, they opt for one, and that they provide on-time comprehensive support to their Jordanian customers. From a marketing perspective, even though an impressive number of Jordanians can speak and read English, it is better to have one's catalogs or brochures translated into Arabic. And last but not least, tip number 5, one small tip on advertising, and I am waiting for Mr. Hassane to validate what I'm saying or prove me wrong. Prioritize advertisement in magazines because they are numerous in Jordan, of better quality, and they offer good access to the middle and upper class consumer of the country. Further to this, there are several regional business magazines and sector-specific publications that are distributed not only in Jordan, but throughout the Middle East, that can also offer Greek businesses useful advertising opportunities. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for the very practical information. And now the floor to Mr. Hassane.
Thanks a lot. Actually, I do approve and agree with what my colleague, Ms. Simi, has mentioned before. And adding to what she has already mentioned, I would like to say something very much important, is that, nowadays in Jordan, actually, one of the plus advantages, if I may say, in this regard, is that our rules and regulations are not, totally fixed, but always there are revisions and developments in this regard. Recently, in the last 2 years, a new ministry, part of the cabinet, has been created for the investment, along with the Ministry of Commerce, which has to do with the bilateral trade. And this is for sure, to facilitate the job of people, either interested in investment, at the same time to facilitate the bilateral trade with other countries. My first advice will be, to benefit out of the skilled manpower in Jordan, This is very much important. And at the same time, to understand that the Jordanian economy is not totally rigid economy. It's much more flexible, high competitive, since it's an open economy. And at the same time, I can say that one of the things that could encourage is that the financial system is very much developed. I believe it has been on the rank of the 32 globally. And we have the ability for innovation by the young Jordanians. This, will help very much in this regard. Adding to that the public institutions are, if I may say, solid and efficient in solving the issues and in facilitating the job of people interested. As for bilateral trade, we have a young generations who's very much open into regard of innovation and in exchange of experience and even trade. This is, I'm sure a lot of them has been studied or educated here in Greece. So the language is not a barrier. As a Greek language in Jordan, it's not a barrier. On the contrary, maybe the Fair Excellency Ambassador is still available with us. She has noticed that a lot of Jordanians are speaking excellent, I can say, Greek language. This could be, one of the points that could facilitate for the people who are interested in bilateral trade or investment in both countries to find Jordanian who are speaking Greek.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Briefly, I will pass the floor to Eleni. As I mentioned at the beginning, we will also have a presentation by Eleni Albadi from Eurobank. So Eleni, the floor is yours. You can share your screen with your presentation, where we will provide our audience with figures and data, which are also very important to have a better picture of the Jordanian market. Okay, it's working. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So thank you very much, Christo. Good afternoon to everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with you today. First of all, I would like to thank the Hellenic Federation of Enterprises, EVEA, SEVE Enterprise Greece, for the invitation, and of course for the opportunity to present market insights focused on international trade for Jordan. I'm Eleni Alpanti. I'm part of Eurobank and the Intelligence Services Division, a division which is responsible for technology and innovation ecosystems, such as Export Gate platform, an international trade portal that can assist Greek and Cypriot companies to explore new markets and find trusted partners around the world. Today, through this presentation, we will share useful information about Jordan with great interest for all the participants of this event. We will explore the country profile and local market insights. We will refer to the economic activity by sector and to the main partner countries of Jordan. At the end, we will close with the import controls and the main exported and imported products. All the data included in this presentation are available through Export Gate Library, one of the largest international trade electronic libraries. You can search in one place all import and export opportunities and have access to microeconomic, commercial, and statistical reports every week. Starting with an economic overview, Jordan is one of the few countries in the Middle East that does not rely as much on its natural resources. Nevertheless, it's also one of the most committed countries to financial reforms, such as tax reforms and opening of the banking sector. In 2022, the country's most immediate challenge remains related to the economic, social, and public health impacts of the pandemic. In addition to this, Jordan also has to deal with a high unemployment rate that just rose further to 22% by the end of 2020. GDP growth is expected to remain at 2% this year and then to 3.1% in 2023, subject to the post-pandemic global economic recovery. Regarding the economic activity by sector, agriculture represented almost 5% of the gross domestic product. The lack of water creates an obstacle to agricultural development. Phosphate and potassium are the only natural resources of the country. Industry contributed 24% of the GDP and employed around 25% of the workforce in 2021. Mining and quarrying are among the most major industries. The manufacturing sector is rather limited and dominated by textiles. The services sector contributed 62% of the GDP in 2022. Communication technologies and financial services are particularly active in the country. The sectors of distribution and tourism also contribute to GDP, although they experience a slowdown in recent years. The construction and transport sectors are constantly expanding. Jordan is very open to international trade, so much that there is a dependence on foreign capital. However, its related share of GDP was standing in 2020 at 65%. Exports are based on the textile industry, followed by the chemical and mining sector, such as fertilizer, medicine, potash, and phosphate. It is important to highlight here that 21% of Jordan's imports came from the European Union, but only 2% of Jordan exports went to the European Union. Total trade in goods between them amounted to 3.4 billion in 2020. The European Union's imports from Jordan amounted to 0.4 billion and were dominated by chemicals, fuels, mineral products, as well as machinery and transport equipment. The European Union's exports from Jordan accounted for 3 billion and were led by machinery and transport equipment, agriculture, raw materials, and chemicals. Main sources of imports are Saudi Arabia, the United States, China, and Germany. The United States was by far the main destination for Jordanian exports with 23%, followed by Saudi Arabia and India with 11% respectively, Iraq and the United Arab Emirates. China with 16% and Saudi Arabia with 13% were the main supplier of goods in Jordan, remaining ahead of United States and Germany. Jordan also main export partners are Switzerland, Kuwait, China, Palestine, and Egypt. Main import partners are Turkey, Italy, India, Egypt, and South Korea. Jordan mainly imports machinery and transport equipment, gas, crude and petroleum products, food, manufactured chemical and electrical machines. As you can see, mineral oils and distillation products account for the largest share of imports, followed by machinery and boilers, followed by electrical and electronic equipment. Commodities, pharmaceutical products, and plastic are also some of the most imported items. It is important for the Greek exporters to highlight here that Jordan also imports food products such as cereals, milk preparation, edible fruits, and nuts. Jordan trade balance is structurally in deficit mainly because of the country's reliance on hydrocarbon imports. The exports of goods amount in 2021 to 7.7 billion and the import of goods to 19.5 billion. Jordan exported almost 8 billion worth of services. The top services exported in 2019 were personal travel, transportation, business travel, government services, and other business services. The top services imported by Jordan were transportation, personal travel, insurance services, government services, computer and information services, business travel, financial, cultural, and recreational services. We will continue with the import controls that apply for the main imported products from Greece to Jordan. Regarding machinery, there are no applied controls about absolute and tariff rate quotas. But concerning license requirements, controls apply and import approval is required. As you can see for categories like mineral oil, products of their distillation, and electrical equipment, control may apply from the Jordan customs. For cereals, nuts, and plastic, there are no applied controls about license requirements, absolute and tariff rate quotas. But of course, depending on the nature of exported goods to Jordan or according to a request from a Jordanian importer, certain documents may also be required. At the end, we will close with the main Greek exports to Jordan. As you can see, edible fruits, nuts, melon, and pharmaceutical products represent the large majority of the main export products. Mineral oils, distillation products are also some of the most exported items. Electrical, electronic equipment, essential oils, perfume, cosmetics, and machinery account for a significant share of exports, followed by aluminum and plastics. The Greek imports from Jordan consist mostly of crude oil and petroleum products. On the contrary, the Greek exports to Jordan are diversified. So, at the end, to summarize, Eurobank offers a complete suite for international business. All the data included in this presentation are available through ExportGate library, where all the members of the platform can have access to advanced tool and special information resources so they may boost their business operation. In addition, businesses are included in one of the largest international trade network, the Trade Club Alliance, supported by international banks in more than 60 countries, with the growing connectivity opportunities in Middle East and Asia, with integration of Bank of China in the Trade Club Alliance. And ExportGate members have the opportunity to find reliable partners using modern networking tools, artificial intelligence, and machine learning technology. And it's important to highlight here for the Greek companies that a new feature is available for the Trade Club member in order to increase business engagement. All members have the ability to post opportunities with their specific product needs. Then, in order to meet potential associates from around the globe, creates the condition for potential synergies through trade corridors, and we support their transactional activities with Trade Platform, an innovative digital platform based on blockchain technology in a transparent and secure environment. Thank you very much. Christo, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Eleni. Indeed, a very insightful presentation, and thank you very much for this. I think that our audience will find it extremely important and informative. I would also like to mention at this point that the presentation will be available at a later stage for the audience to have it for them. Just a very quick question, Eleni, before we move on to the last panel. Is it possible for Greek companies to find business partners through the platform?
Yes. Of course, Christos, I have already mentioned, all of this data are available through ExportGate library, where all the members of the platform can have access to advanced tool and special information resources, so they may boost their business operations. In addition, ExportGate members have the opportunity to find reliable partners using modern networking tools, artificial intelligence, and machine learning technology, with the growing connectivity opportunities, now with integration of Bank of China in the Trade Club Alliance in the Middle East and Asia. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eleni. And thank you very much, all three of you, for this exquisite panel. I would now like to pass the floor to Panagiotis Hassapis. He is the Executive Vice President of SEVE, for the last but not least panel on doing business in Jordan. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christo, for the introduction. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the last session of today's webinar, Doing Business in Jordan, where we have three honorary guests, Mr. Christos Demergis. Hello, Christos. Hello, Mr. Demergis from HB Body Group. HB Body was established in 1982 with the aim to produce and distribute products for the automotive refining industry. 90% of its products or production is exported to 75 countries across the world. One of these countries is the Kingdom of Jordan, where the products are being exported since 2003. And XB Body is exporting and distributing the 80% of the product range through one importer in Amman. The next guest is Mr. Vasilis Grapsas, who is the project manager of Mytilineos Group, METCA. He's a leading international EPC, which is engineering, procurement, and construction contractor and industrial manufacturing group, very well known to everyone. as EPC contractor, was awarded and completed the 2 power projects in Jordan, one in 2013 and one in 2015. Hello, Mr. Grapsas.
Hello, good afternoon.
And last but not least, the very well-known Ms. Maria Paschalidou. Hello, Maria. Hello, Ms. Paschalidou from Grandex Group. We've been together in several business missions. I remember very well, either with you or with other members of your family or your company. I remember very well Beirut, Nigeria,
correct.
Bangkok,
Thailand,
Singapore,
yes.
among others. Grandex has been manufacturing friction materials and spare parts for heavy-duty vehicles, and it has been active in the Jordanian market for over 40 years. And in fact, Jordan was one of the first markets to start exporting their products to the Middle East, and their production are considered essentially items with high consumption. So let's move on to the first question. We'll begin with you, Mr. Demergis, dear Christos. What was the fundamental reason that the Jordanian market attracted you to enter, and what were the main challenges you faced when setting up or you are currently facing when running your business in Jordan? Mr. Demergis, please.
Hello, Panagiotis.
Hello.
I would like to welcome you all and to thank you for the invitation. Jordan, comparing to all the Middle East countries, is closer to the European mentality. So customers have knowledge and the education is high. The most important issue is that Jordanian people want to learn more about their business, about new products and technology. The workforce is skilled. The income is quite high, as we heard also before.
Yeah.
So it's a very good country to start when you want to enter the Middle East, since you take advantage of the knowledge of the area without losing time and without having issues that will make you think twice. The main challenge was to find the right people, and in our case, the right partner, since in most of the time we are cooperating with an exclusive importer. Also, one of the challenges was to find the right products from our product range.
Yeah.
In order to meet the needs of the market. In some cases, we had to change some of the characteristics from our products in order to make it easier for the users to adapt them. Currently, we are facing some price issues since competition is growing more and more, and new products are entering the market.
This is always the main challenge. I think, Mr. Rapsas, same question for you, please.
Good afternoon from me, and thank you for the invitation. Also for us, Jordan was an oasis during this period and an opportunity. Is in a modern industrial market, and also back to this period was an international hub due to its stability and strategic geographical location. The main incentive for Medca to enter the Jordanian market back in 2012 was mainly the power needs of the country.
Mm-hmm.
The amount of the electricity that was generated in Jordan for some years was insufficient and was mainly covered by the neighbor countries like Syria and Egypt. Due to the circumstances in the region, imports have been stalled completely back in this period, and Jordan proceeded to construction of new power plants on behalf of the public company, which is called the Samra Electric Power Corporation, in order to support the country needs in the fast-track mode.
Mm-hmm.
So we built, as you mentioned, 2 power plants, thermal power plants. And the other motivation was, as mentioned before, the proximity to Greece and Europe. Also, a very good advantage is the culture, which is similar to the Greek one, and also the diligence of the people. With respect to the challenges for our kind of business, the main challenge was the transportation network. More specifically, the lack of ports. There is only one port in order to import equipment and goods, is the Aqaba port, which complicates a bit the logistic part of our business. Also, the custom clearance procedure was a bit complicated in order to be able to import on time the equipment that is needed for our projects.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Maria, Ms. Paschalidou, your point of view, please.
Actually, Jordan is a country close to Greece and is a transit point for many of its neighbors. And it's an industrial and developing country, but supports strong tourism industry, which is an important source of foreign exchange. It is one of the most stable countries in the region, both politically and economically. And the trade agreements with European Union facilitate exports. If I talk about our sector and our products, as road transport is the only means of both goods and people circulation, it was a very strong motive for choosing the specific country, since the demand for our products is very high. And finally, let's not forget that Jordanians hold very amicable relationship with Greeks, so things makes something that makes things easier. Concerning the challenge, actually the main challenge almost 40 years ago that we entered the market was to choose the right partner, and which, as you realize, is the most important factor for success. Of course, there is high competition. That's why quality and reasonable pricing are essential factors. Local mentality is strong, and Jordanian people are characterized by reluctancy to develop new projects, or at least this was what we faced. However, with personal contact, which is very vital, with the regular visit to Jordan, with our willingness to acquire personal perception of the market status, monitor the developments and the emerging opportunities, we succeeded to be one of the market leaders in the sector. So that's
speaking about competition, you gave me a bridge to the next question. Ms. Paschalidou, who are your main competitors in the Jordanian market, and what is the level of competition? Please.
Actually, in our sector, due to the absence of strict import rules and regulations in the country, contrary in other markets of the region, at least for the products related to our sector, you can easily meet in the market products of lower quality and various origins. Our main competitors come from Germany, Turkey, China, so there is a high level of competition. However, we don't compromise on the quality of our products. There is demand for all quality levels, and we educate our partner to identify and respect the quality factor, while on the other hand, we try to keep prices at a reasonable level. Look, a long-term relationship of trust by offering overall and 360 support to our partner and the end user was and still is the way of maintaining our leading position in the market.
Okay. So the matter of quality and price is always essential. Mr. Rapsas?
With respect to Jordan, the main competitors in the energy sector are mainly Chinese and Korean companies, which are well established in Jordan and have many years' experience in power plants, and partially recently Turkish companies. As you mentioned, is a matter of price and value. So internationally, there are not so many EPC companies worldwide. The same in Jordan, there are 2-3 companies that are mainly Chinese and Korean.
Okay. Christos, Mr. Demertzis?
Yeah, the level of the competition in our days is high. There are local manufacturers that are producing better and better products, which you can find also exported in European countries. And also Turkish-made products are becoming more and more with very competitive prices, of course, with equal quality concerning the prices. And of course, other European products. You can say that in our days, you can find everything in the market with a different price level, but there is always a place for your product on the shelves.
Okay, thank you. Something else that was highlighted before is the geographical location of Jordan. So Jordan, geographical location bordering Syria to the north, Iraq to the northeast, and Saudi Arabia to the east and south, makes it a hub. Has it been has this helped you as a gateway to the other countries of the region? And if so, which are the most business-friendly markets if a company is based in Jordan? I would like to start with you, Mr. Rapsas, please.
Our presence in Jordan helped to strengthen our presence in the Middle East area in general, since we had previous projects in the nearby countries you mentioned in Syria and Iraq.
Mm-hmm.
I believe the most friendly, let's say, country was Syria, now is not. But also Jordan's strategic location, as you mentioned, and help us to find locally many partners, many delicate industrial equipment needed to be exported in the neighboring countries, and also to find locally competent and professional manpower and resources for the staffing of our projects.
Okay. Ms. Paschalidou?
Actually, it helped us at the beginning, that's 40 years ago when we launched the cooperation in the Jordanian market, and it worked as a reference, let's say. However, for decades now, we have established direct cooperation with neighboring countries. Our experience has shown that having a local partner who knows the market and the specific demands of the consumers really is quite effective and conducive to success. I find that all neighboring countries are equally business friendly, especially Syria in the past, but apparently for obvious reasons, Syria is no longer. So all other countries are equally business friendly.
Thank you. Christos, Mr. Demerzis?
Yeah, this was one of the reasons that we started exporting in Jordan, just to take the knowledge of the area. After that, we started with Saudi Arabia, which is a big market for us and has good relations also with Jordan. And even our partners have cooperated in the past when there was a shortage of some specific products. Concerning Syria, we used to have an importer also, but after the war, the situation changed and we are trying to restart the business. Yeah. And now our efforts are to develop business with Iraq through our partner in Jordan who has the contacts in the area.
Okay, thank you. The last question is, did you encounter any difficulties or barriers in your effort to enter the market? And is there something future investors should take away into consideration? And knowing your experience in the Jordanian market, what advice would you give to a Greek exporter who considers exploiting the Jordanian market? And Christos, please.
Okay. To tell you the truth, we didn't have any barriers, or we don't have any barriers. The most important was and still is to train the people about the use of the products. So the future investors should focus on that, not only the price issue. We have managed through our partner to have a training center that we organize training sessions for the end users by our technician who is traveling to Jordan.
So this is very interesting.
He is also training the people of our partner, and this is very successful. We notice that with the knowledge, these people, they appreciate it and they become loyal to your products. What to say now? First of all, you have to visit country. You have to visit the country, get in the market, understand the mentality of the people, spend some time with them in order to find out the way of life, try to find the appropriate partner. So contact the market research on the spot, invest on the relationship with the partner, and be patient. Try to be clear with them concerning the strategy and your prices, of course. But you have to know that in generally, Jordan people, they have a very positive view of Greek people. Just I remember back in 2004 when I've been there the first time, I was waiting for the passport control, and someone from the security have seen my passport and start screaming, Yunan, Yunan. So I passed around 100 people in the line, and I've been the first to be at the checkpoint. So I think it's a very friendly country for Greek exporters to start with for the Middle East.
Thank you, Christos, for sharing your experience with us. Mr. Rapsas?
I agree totally with Christos. During all these years, we didn't face any difficulties or barriers in entering the market. On the contrary, also we established quite fast. We developed very good relations with the local authorities and companies. As you mentioned also before, there is a local personnel educated in Greece, so it can help in all the fields and can be used also as business partners. The only thing that future investors will take into account, the consideration, is to work proactively in terms of the procurement and the logistics, how to import their equipment and materials, and to perform a proper due diligence of the local equipment and resources. Only this.
Okay, thank you. And we will conclude our session doing business in Jordan with the lady of our company, Maria Miss Pascalidou, please.
Actually, the barriers and difficulties we encounter when we're trying to enter the Jordanian markets cannot be considered as of great gravity due to the fact that the Jordanian people possess a quite open-minded approach and mentality. It was not extremely difficult to establish contacts and initial signs of cooperation. A well-founded market research along with firm assessment of factors that affect the local markets are key elements and should be taken into consideration. If you would allow me to give some tips to the future exporters and investors, I could say that it's truly important to respect the agreements and meet the deadlines, because this way the exporters prove their attitude and display the potential to become reliable partners. Another advice is advertising is very important in sectoral magazines or any form of it. It's very helpful. Acquisition of information about people's mentality, characteristics, expectation, and as consumers is very fundamental. It's definitely important to visit the country, gain personal experience, socialize with interested parties, develop personal relationship. One thing that I have to stress here that we faced, and it's important, once the first successful project in the Jordanian market is launched, there will be strong feedback with vivid interest expressed by various other local importers showing great willingness to initiate cooperation. At this stage, the exporters should show integrity and respect the primary agreement and with their partner, and avoid being lured by multiple sales contracts that will inevitably spoil the market and inflict on the image of the exporter. And it's something that we faced very strongly at the beginning.
This is always a case. Christos Demergis, Vasilis Grapsas, and Maria Pascalidou, I would like to thank you very much for your participation and for sharing with us your experience in the Jordanian market. We have concluded our session doing business in Jordan. Giorgo, the floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
too. Hope that we were constructive and fruitful for everyone. Thank you.
On behalf of the organizers, SEV Enterprise Greece, the Athens Chambers of Commerce and Industry, and SEVE, let me thank all the speakers and all the participants for staying with us in discovering how to do business in Jordan or with Jordanian companies. We received very valuable information, and this information will give great insight when we will welcome Jordanian companies in Greece in early July. We thank Mr. Dimitriou and the Athens Chambers of Commerce and Industry for hosting this delegation at their headquarters, and we look forward to working very closely with Greek and Jordanian companies in order to promote bilateral trade and business relations. Dimitris Panagiotis, if you would like to have some closing remarks before we thank our guests.
Yes, George, thank you very much. I just want to underline that we had an amazing session. It was very fruitful I believe, for all of us and for the people that were following this session. I want just to underline 3 or 4 very important things, in my view, that were said by the various speakers and Your Excellencies, the ambassadors. First of all, The country is very friendly and people are very friendly, well educated, and that gives a good advantage for the Greek businessman. Taking under consideration the problem of the competition that we have with other countries that are in the area, like we heard about Turkey, we heard about China, we heard about Korea. So I believe that one of the points that we have to push is the friendly relations we have between the two countries. And the second thing that I would like to underline is that there are, as we heard, new it's agro-food and construction materials and pharmaceutical, and there are new investments that can be new relation that we can create, mostly in the banking system, which is services, in the IT, and of course in the startups. We underline this very much as Chamber of Commerce because we have a very well organized startup system and an incubator here in Chamber of Commerce. And we strongly invite young and startups from Jordan to be in contact with us and see how we can promote new jobs and new technologies through them and through our startups in Greece. So we look forward to the July meeting and forum. It's supposed to be done a couple of years ago, but due to COVID, it was postponed. And we hope that this time will be successful and we'll be very happy to host this event in our chamber with the collaboration of SEVE, and of course, always the Enterprise Greece, who is helping a lot all these actions. Thank you very much again to all participants, and hopefully we hope to see you soon in Athens. Thank you,
Dimitris. Panagiotis, do you have any
words, George? I think that we covered everything today. First of all, the bilateral relations between Greece and Jordan, the business and investment opportunities in Jordan, and then a more practical session of doing business in Jordan. And I look forward to the next country that we'll examine. I think it will be the United Arab Emirates in July, as far as I remember. So thank you very much.
So thank you all for being with us today. Last but not least, let me thank our sponsor, Export Gate by Eurobank, who always supports international trade initiatives. Have a great afternoon, and we hope to see you all again in our next event.
Thank you.